everyone who's not able to make it, or all of you who would like to go listen to again. Do you see at the top, it says something about you're being recorded? So you know that's no shock that this could come back to haunt you, right? So if you want to, go ahead and click on dismiss on the top to give yourself a little more real estate. So you're probably wondering, if we already have something like Zoom, why would we learn something different that does the same thing? Well, it doesn't do the same thing, but the one thing it does do, for sure, is it does a video conference like today. Right now we're seeing what we call a 3x3 grid, but that's about to change as well. So we'll talk about that. First thing I'd like everyone to do is in your floating toolbar, and if you don't see something, let me know. I would like you to see that there is a camera on, of course, a microphone on. I want you to see the share button, but we're going to click the share button, but then, bail out of it because I'm going to share soon. So everybody click that share. It's an up arrow in the center of the floating bar. When you click your share bar, is everyone seeing that you have things like desktop, window, PowerPoint? Everybody nod at me. And here's the neat thing about this. In Zoom, when you do anything, I think we're getting somebody's screen, that's okay. In Zoom, when you're doing anything, you kind of can't see faces. Are you noticing that while you're doing things here, you can kind of still see the faces? On this, do you see there's a checkbox to include system audio under the share area? That means if you're like from your PowerPoint slides want to include sound or you want to do some audio, you can flip that on. The desktop is very much like Zoom, although if you have low bandwidth, you may want to share just a single window instead of your full desktop. And does everyone, if you have the online, the installed version, you would probably see the Microsoft whiteboard as well, but that may not be for everyone, what you might actually see there. Hey, next, go ahead and just click back on the faces right now to get rid of the share screen. Click back on faces. Everybody see those 3 dots? Click on those 3 dots. Remember, we said there's something cool hiding behind 3 dots here at any given time. I want you to turn on live captions if you are using the installed version of Teams. So what the live captions will do is everything that I am saying will actually show up for us as well. Let me get everybody into our meeting here today. Good, good, good. Yeah, let me get everybody in here. Good, good, good. And I'm going to go ahead and share my desktop and take over real quick. I think I've got somebody else's. It's okay. So let me go ahead and share. Boom, boom. Now, you'll see my screen in just a moment. Let me come back here into our Teams environment. When you click the 3 dots, for those who are just joining us, happy Tuesday. If you would like to, you could turn on your live captions. Someone's phone, but I can turn everybody on mute if we need to. Hey, does everyone see the closed captions on mine? So this is actually built into Teams where it's not really built into Zoom. You have to have a third party. So that's nice. What else? If you see these 3 dots, you could look on my screen if you're not seeing it. Do you see where you can show, turn on your background effects? So let me show you my background effects here. I can turn on my background effects. And if those who are using the installed version, if you want to change your background real quick, feel free to see whatever mood you're in. I'm going to switch to a school one here real quick. So if you look at my background right now, I guess I'm in the classroom that I'm not allowed in right now. So if you want to play with your backgrounds there, so far, and you can actually upload at the top. You can click add new and add any background that you would like. One idea is every time you present, switch your background to something different just to, change it up a little bit in your class. Never a bad idea. Give me a thumbs up if you guys are seeing my screen real quick. Everyone's seeing my screen? Good. What I want to do now is kind of talk you through some of the basic things here that I want to show you. Last year, 1 year ago, this is my son. We were all in New Zealand. I was speaking there for Microsoft, and boy, what a year change makes. This is, by the way, in Queenstown. So, different 4th of July this year. You guys know what this is, so I'll go past that. So I love what a friend of mine said, Gary Steger. He says, you know, there's this reason to celebrate summer, but then you must act. Use this time to remake schooling in a way that's more humane, creative, meaningful, and learning centered. And I keep thinking to my own grandchildren who, if we don't go back to school, the schools aren't very prepared where they are to really get really, you know, quality home education through a remote teacher. So we really are going to have to, you know, move forward. Let's talk about Teams. Teams, first of all, is free, but there's a free experience and, just like Zoom, a paid experience. So we're going to talk you through both. But it's available for every single kind of device: desktop, tablet, Mac, PC, browser, iPhone, Android phone. And what's really neat is you pretty much get a consistent experience regardless of what device that you pop through, which is great. You can use the app or web-based. What I mean by that is you may have seen this screen when you guys were logging in. You can either download the Windows app or your mobile app, or you can use the web app instead. I'm going to recommend that you download the app to do your assignment this week, because you're able to create a meeting and do all the extra things that would be helpful. But these are both free. So you can just click download the Windows app, or to do that, you can go to teams.microsoft.com to download that free app. Or you can go on a mobile device, your smartphones, to any app store and just type in Microsoft Teams. So here's how this is different than Zoom. Think of Zoom as a really great video conferencing where we can connect to the home computer of our students and share our screens. That's great. And maybe that's all you want to do. But Teams does that and tons of other pieces. It's considered a hub-based community, and you're about to see why. You can do all kinds, of course, Microsoft stuff like Word and Excel and PowerPoint, all live here, but it works with over 300 other third-party apps as well. So in other words, it's the integration of almost everything. So we're going to go live and show you around in a minute, but we're really trying to create that community as we go. And here's what is happening with Teams in the world around us. Teams is not only heavily used by schools all over the world, but it's heavily used in business. 93 out of the top Fortune 100 companies are using Microsoft Teams. You say, what does that matter? It matters because the parents would be very, 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 very familiar with Teams, and definitely not something like Google Classroom. It's in 181 different countries. There's only 194, so pretty prevalent worldwide. And it has 53 different languages. By the way, that's now up to 64. So a lot of different languages, and it can do instant translations. For example, someone could be speaking in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and 64 different languages could be translated immediately as we go. Let me let someone in here. I see a hand raised. Miss Overstreet, can I assist? It's okay. By the way, everybody try the little hand. Do you see that little floating? Raise your hand. Everybody can try it. And there's a chat window to ask questions or to take notes as we go. And we can see who's in here as well. Let me go back and just dig a little bit more in. So here's what you're able to do. You can still do the online meetings, live webinars. So right now we see this 3x3 stage. The person who last speaks gets to be in the 9. But as of the end of July, they're going to 49. You get to have 49 faces up on your screen, whoever spoke last. So what can Teams do? Let me kind of show you why it's a little bit different. Microsoft Teams for Education can do all the videos and the chat, but it can do a lot more. First of all, it includes OneNote, and we're going to go look at that. This OneNote, where students can have their own notebook in Teams, where the teacher can view it, but other students can't. This is where the teacher could have a whiteboard, a collaboration space in OneNote, like this. And we can add tons of websites as well. So let me now go live into Teams and now kind of show you everything about it. I'm going to start right here. If you look at my screen right now, let me show you the parts of the screen if you want to take any notes so you call everything the right thing. Do you see this purple panel on the side? Everybody give me a shout out and say yes if you see it or no.
Yes.
Good, good. Yeah. Hey, this purple panel on the left is a real simple term. It's called the Me, M-E pane. Why is it called the Me pane? This would be my activities. In other words, what I have assigned, what comments have been made to me. This is my chat where I've been speaking to folks here. These are my teams, and another word for teams are my classes or my groups. And let me just show you some of the teams I might have. I might have the classes I teach, but I also might have the faculty and staff that works together as a collective. It could be a faculty meeting. It could be a club meeting. It could be the staff. It could be where you meet with your administration or principals or deans. You could have research. It could be all kinds of groupings here. This also has the capability of doing assignments in here that we could work on collectively or as a group or one-on-one. And when you use the installed version of Teams, this is your calendar, and this will show you how to create a new meeting. Let me show you. If I wanted to create today's meeting, let's say, I could just click on either Meet Now and then just share the link with everybody, or make a calendar-based meeting. And let me show you the two types. There's a schedule meeting. This is more a class meeting. You can have up to 250 people. You're in one of these right now. But Teams has this larger event where all the videos and audios are blocked from the audience, more like a webinar. So for example, if my college president wanted to speak to every student, every faculty member, he would do a live event, and this live event holds up to 20,000 people. But you wouldn't want everyone's dog to be heard and, you know what I mean, that type of thing. So this is more a one-way conversation. You could have multiple speakers, but you wouldn't do everything that we usually do in a class. Let me let people in here real quick. So let me see. Let everybody in here. Good, good, good. Hey, next. So yes. Hey.
I don't have the calendar thing. Amanda checked with Amanda, who'd you say, our ITRT, and we are blocked.
Let me show you how to get around that. We're going to talk about that as well, but let me mention it now. At CVCC and several schools, they sometimes haven't turned everything on yet. So what I would recommend is using a non-school account to log into Teams, and you'll get all your functionality back. Does that make sense?
Yes, but Amanda, didn't you say that, I don't know, Amanda, answer that, please.
Well, I don't know if I have an answer. I tried to sign in with my CVCC login credentials.
Yeah, it won't work with your CVCC. So that non-school account, if your school hasn't turned it on yet.
Yet, as in they should?
For example, let me tell you what's happening at my community college. Teams is open and active. Someone's got their feedback on their speaker, so let me put everybody on mute all. Hold on. Let's see. That's okay. And hold, mute everyone here, okay? Sorry. So if you want to speak, you can go on mic. But hold on, my now vacuum robot is now walking by, so let me shut that up. That's called real life, right? Of course, the IT teacher would have a robot vacuum. Are we shocked? And so, for example, at CVCC, they have flipped on Teams, but they want a lot of control. So they've turned all these pieces off. So right now, the faculty is now asking them to be able to use Teams for their classroom. So they're in the process of, allowing teachers unchecking the lockdowns, if that makes sense. So if you find that your school is too locked down, just use a different email to log in, and then you won't have your school locking everything down. Sadly, sometimes IT loves control. And if you want to record that and take that to anyone you need, feel free, sorry. So hopefully that will get established at our schools. A lot of times they don't know things are locked down. So sometimes we have to might mention it to them as we go along. Okay, so let me show you, go back into Teams. So to create a meeting, I would just go under the calendar and click schedule meeting and just fill in, we are meeting together, and then put anyone's email addresses that would need to be in here so they could meet. So we could now get everyone in here. Let me just get Lindsay back in. Good. And now we could put everyone in here and invite them. You would just put the date and the time, and as soon as you hit send, anyone that's listed here on this line gets the invite. One best practice, invite yourself through email. You might find it easier to find your own invitation that morning. So put yourself as well, and it doesn't have to be a Microsoft account. It could be a Gmail, it could be anything here. Okay, so that's how we can invite anyone to that meeting. Now, let's go into this class, and I'm going to show you how to make a class. If your school's locked down, then you would have to use an outside email address to make a team. And what I'm going to do is go up to the I'm clicked on Teams on the left. And here on the upper right-hand corner, I could click Create a Team. And there are different types of teams in Teams. Let me show you. When I click on Create Team, there are 4 types always in education. Now, you're going to see, now let me stop here. This is the confusing part. I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody again. I'm hearing some feedback here real quick. Sorry, guys. So when you use Teams, there's the free version, and then there is the paid version that has more options. Does that make sense? So if you're using the free version, when you click Create Teams, it'll just let you create a standard team. But when you're with your schools in a paid environment, you have these 4 options. You can just make the standard team for your homework, but I want to show you in this environment how you would do it at your schools with the school version if they flip everything on so that you're able to use it, so you understand what teams can do. This class one means that there's teachers and students. Teachers will have tons more control than students. This second one would be like for professional learning or PD, and this would make everyone equal. This is staff, once again, equal when everyone's like working together, getting ready for school, working with all the 3rd grade teachers or all the college teachers who teach early learning or at the dual enrollment campuses. And this would be clubs. This is where students could even, add channels and do everything. I'm going to create a class, And I'm just going to call this our English class today, or our math class. I'm going to make it a math class because I know several of you teach math. So when I make this class, I can add students. If your school is making your teams, typically your school just pushes all of your students in here. But in my case, I'm just making one fresh. So now I could pick several students who are in my class and just add them. You can also add multiple teachers. And you could just put their email addresses in here as well to add people to your class. So now that we have this class made, I don't want my class to be this boring green smack. So I'm just going to click on these 3 dots and manage my team. And what I'm going to do here under settings, and again, this is all being recorded, you can create a team theme. What a settings and team theme is where you can make it look a little more interesting. So since this is my math class, I'm going to make this one right here, make it look very mathy, if that's okay. Let me show you around what I can now do in my class once everything's created here. In my class, internet's slow, we always have something called, I'll show you over here while that's updating, a general channel. General channel is like where everyone can see. And we can talk here, we can chat, make announcements here. Boy, I've never seen that take so long in my life, so I'm just gonna refresh that real quick. Sorry. And move on here. Come on, internet, please don't fail me now. That's one thing that every house is dealing with because everyone's home more so, and it does hang on you more so. There's that class of mine. Okay, so now I have my team set up, and in my teams right here, I can have any post. Let me show you what I mean by post. You've all seen chats before, but this one's a little bit different. You can share files with students right here by hitting this attach at the bottom. I can share emojis here. And I know this seems silly, but I have to tell you, you've all gotten emails before, and if you don't use sometimes happy faces at the end, students will read it and they'll think it says, instead of saying, hey, I need your assignments by tomorrow if that's possible, they read it as, I need your assignments by tomorrow. You get the gesture. So sometimes having these emojis, and if you search these, it gives you more options here. So if I want to wave or do something, it will give me those options in here. I also have emojis in here that are more like memes. So if I want to clap or something for a student, I could have the audience clapping here because they did such a great job. I can meet with a student individually right now by clicking the little video camera down here. So if a student needs some help and I can just, while we're meeting, everybody can be working on something, I can meet with them individually while I'm holding the other meeting. I also can post, for example, praise to a student. I could say, you know, I really appreciate Sandra, you know, that you were doing something along the way. So I'm going to give them a personalized note. So I could send this out and let the whole class see that praise of what I thought they did well. We also along here have maps. So if I want to put in a map to where we're holding a specific address or an area, we could set this up to put in any city, any town. So I can put in maps. I could even put individual directions to an exact address. I also have the capability of putting news in here. Let's say I want to see about Europe and flights. I think some of you have heard we may be on the naughty list that we're not allowed to travel abroad anymore for a while. So I might want to share that news story with my class. I may also want to share some stocks. Whatever, if you're teaching a business class, I could put in Some Delta stock right here. It's down today, no shock because of the lack of flights that are going to go. And I could even put in the weather today. Let's find out our weather real quick for 24502. And let's see how beautiful. It's 81 degrees outside right now, everyone. So I have this chat. That's kind of cool. One of the things that I use the most is the YouTube link. So if I wanted to share something called virtual reality, we're going to talk about that in a couple weeks. I could show what virtual reality is and just put in a really cool video right here. So if I wanted to let everyone see how to virtually dissect a frog right after breakfast, you could click the video if I had this going live and let you guys see. But I want to show you some other pieces here with our time. I'm going to go under files right here. Files are any of the files that your students need in your class during your meeting. So if I need the students to be able to open this PowerPoint or this worksheet, and this really helps us if you're live in an event and you need to share files with everyone, you can upload from any source. So you could upload files from local, you could upload files from OneDrives, even Google Docs. You could put them all in here. Now let me show you the things that are going to be just on this paid version of Teams, so at least you can see what a school can do. Do you see this class notebook, assignments, and grades? Before I get too deep into that, I'm going to come back to these in a moment, but I want to show you what is in the free version before we go in the paid, finish up the free. Do you see these plus signs at the top here? I can add tabs, and the tabs can be any of these 300 different apps that you may or may not have ever heard of. For example, some of the ones that maybe you've heard of in education before are Flipgrid. Remember that one? You should from this past week. Maybe you've heard of Nearpod. Maybe you've heard of Box. Maybe you've heard of Poly for surveying. There's just tons of different educational on the college side and the K-12 side that are readily available. Let me do some ones that you have heard of. Here's Flipgrid. What I could do here is click my Flipgrid and I could add it here. All I would need to do is put the code that my class is using. You remember that one last week, the one BEE that we all had the window on the world? I could put this in here so that everyone could see the Flipgrid at the same time. Let me do one for something today. I'm going to put in a website. Once again, let me show you how I got here. Across the top, there's plus signs. I'm going to click this plus sign and pick website. You can put any website that you want to be interactive with your class. Since this is a math one, let me give you an idea. Let's say I was in a math class that would be more middle or high school or college that has something to do with a graph. This website called Desmos even has number lines for elementary school. If I wanted to copy this, I could copy the free web page web address and paste it right in here. And what that would allow me to do is now the entire class would be able to work on this graph with me. If I put in 3x plus 2, equals 9, I could be graphing this and we could all work for this. And each student would be able to click and type and put in their equation. So we could kind of see this. So any type of website that could be interactive, it could be a news website, a historical, whatever you wanted to put in here. So now, instead of just showing them a website, let everyone be interactive within it. That's the difference. Now, let me go into the paid pieces just so you can see what this comes. And let me talk about paid. When a school uses Teams, that school, let me show you at Office, when your school becomes a Microsoft using school, that means they use any of the Microsoft tools. We call this now Microsoft 365. It's kind of like a Google school, but some schools also do Microsoft. CVCC is a Microsoft school. A lot of our schools in our area are. What they do here, once you use this, it costs your school $2.50 per student per month. And not only do they get the paid version of Teams, but every student gets full Microsoft Office, the full Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all this stuff for 15 of their home computers. So that way they get the full Office at home. So that's what I mean by the paid version here. So when a school does this, they get the class notebook, the assignments, and the grades. So let me click class notebook. I'm going to come over here and make it a little bit larger, a little more real estate by clicking on this double arrow. Let me just give you an overview of what this is so it would make sense. So now you're going to be doing a OneNote assignment this week, but you're just going to be using free OneNote, which is identical to this. And what you're going to be able to do is create any kind of page. Let's just show you how to use basic OneNote to help you on your other assignment later this week. So I'm just going to go down here. There are sections on the left and pages on the second column. Let's say I want to make a section called Chapter 1. And I want this first page to be, let's say, about graphing. So with OneNote, whether it be the free version or the one inside of Teams, anywhere you go, we now have all of these tools to do different fonts, different bullets. You can even do a to-do list. But let me show you a couple of the pieces that are really kind of crazy unique. One, you did in Word this past week. Do you remember this, everybody? Dictate. Dictate right here allows me to begin talking. And look, Mom, no hands again. It's just allowing students to dictate their words. So that's also in OneNote. But OneNote, you never need to hit File and Save. It saves automatically. What else can I do? I can go under the Insert tab up here. And under the Insert tab, I could click down here. By the way, all these, once you use an area here, you can move these areas around any which way on your screen. But I'm going to click down here. And I want to insert a file. I could insert it as an attachment. This means that if they click the file, it would open. Or I could insert the file as a printout. Let me show you that because that's different. So now I could go under my documents here and grab, let's say, a Word document. And now when I insert it, it will open the Word document so students could write on it, mark it up, do whatever in here. So they could now grab a drawing pen and circle it, put arrows. They could answer questions if you needed them to. So they can mark things up. Under the Insert tab, some really cool things. If I were talking about, let me do another page here, teach a number line. So I want to teach a number line here real quick, maybe to an elementary class. I could go to the Insert tab and pick picture. You can pull in billions and billions upon of Creative Commons open source images. So if I type something like number lines, I could grab these images right here, a little more exciting than number lines as well, and insert anything into my document, and so could students. So if they want to share how you use a number line, or to fill in the parts of the heart, or whatever you're learning, parts of the camera, that would work. So we can also pull in your individual pictures or from your camera. You can put in links. You can also record audio. And here's what my students are doing a lot with OneNote. During a class, they may record the instructions. So I could just click audio here. It's now recording my actual voice. It's not dictating. It's doing the old-fashioned recording. And when I hit stop, I now can put directions into my student's environment, and all they would have to do is play it back and listen to it. It's now recording my actual voice. It's not dictating, it's doing the old-fashioned. So we have all of these tools in here for students, let's say, who are kindergarten, who are not writing yet. They could record their answer with their voice, or students who are learning Spanish and could practice their Espanol. Let me show you a really cool feature of OneNote that you're going to be trying out. It's called the math feature. I want you to imagine that I'm going to draw, and I'm grabbing a pen right here, and I put in another math problem again. Maybe I'm going to do 3x plus 7 equals 11. And you see, how are you doing that? I could do it with a mouse. I could do it with a touchpad. I could do it with a stylus if I had one. Any of that works. But now that I have a math problem on the screen, I can click Math, and it says write your equation or type it, select your equation, and then tap the math button. So what I'm going to do here real quick is, now that I have this, I can make sure let me go ahead and select this. I've got everything on top of each other here. So now I can, with my screen right here, I can draw sorry guys, I just lost the right page. Too much going on the screen. Good, good, good. Come on, screen back. So now that I have this math problem here on, I can have it help me solve this math problem, and it can even graph this for me as well. So now, and it even can give you math problems that it creates for you right here. So there's a math video that's going to, even if you're not a math teacher, everyone can struggle with math, that you're going to be able to try this week and put together in here. So I'll let you play with that math feature this week, how you can, again, it's under math tools right here. And now we can select that equation. Let me get these pieces out of my way. And we can actually get it to solve some of this. So let me get that in there. And now we can click on that math button, and it can pull in your math problem. I'm going to say fix it so it gets all of this. There we go. And now we can select an option. It didn't pick up my X very well, but it's now saying my math problem is false, and you can show the steps of how to solve any kind of math problem. Hey, some other pieces in here. There's the Immersive Reader you're going to hear more about in future weeks. But how this basically works is, now that you have this OneNote notebook that you're able to use, what you can do here is there's a collaboration space where all the students can see each other's and work collaboratively together. There's a content library where you can put your worksheets, and then it makes a notebook for every single student in your class. And in these notebooks, it allows you to put any of their assignments. It actually pushes them in here. But here's why this is different than a learning management system. This is where you can go in with the student in here, and only the student and the teacher can go in an individual notebook. And now inside of here, you guys can work on this together. It's not like the student does something and then comes back. You can mark it up, you can help them, you can share this. So this is kind of why this is getting really popular. Almost every major university and tons of K-12. The entire country of Canada uses Teams in every K-12 school and every college and university. So you can start to see why this has gotten so big to be inside of here. Let me show you, go back into our class now that you've seen the notebook a little bit, and I do have some videos for there to watch on the notebooks this week. Once you get your class set up, you can create channels. And here's what a channel is. A channel could be a topic, a week of content. And to create a channel, we can click these 3 dots, click Add a Channel. And let's say our first week of classes, we're really going to introduce ourselves and do things like that. We can add the channel right down here at the base. And that way they could go in the channel to do different things. You could have different groups that are working together and make channels out of that. So think of a channel as just an amount of work that you're working with right now. And in each of these channels, you can put the files that they need and any notes and add any of these items to do Flipgrids, Kahoots, Pear Decks, websites, YouTubes, everything they would need to work on this all put together. So that's the big picture here in Teams. I want to show you one other big piece. Not only can we assign assignments, but there is a feature in here under assignments that actually does all the grading for you as well. And that's really nice. And here's what I mean by all the grading. Under the Create button here at the bottom, you can actually make quizzes, and you make quizzes in a product that you're going to play with next week called Microsoft Forms. And let me just show you what a form is so that it would make a little bit more sense next week. You're going to next week go to a website called forms.office.com. It's free, there's no cost at all to use Forms. And what Forms allows you to do is make any kind of self-grading entity, or if you want to be able to grade it as well. So even if you're not using Teams at your school, but you want things just to be happily self-graded as you go, this is what, let's say, a quiz looks like in my math class. I can create any kind of quiz with all of these mathematical symbols. I could do any of this in here, and it would grade it automatically. This is also can be used to do surveys. What Forms can do is, I did a training last week for a place in Canada called New Brunswick for their teachers. And for example, we did a survey at the end. Did you learn more about Teams? All that type of things. And we had about 600 people respond. We could actually see their survey at the end. So if you're in the administrative side or the teacher side, a lot of schools are starting to use Forms because they can get that immediate feedback from their students. Let me just show you how easy it is to use Forms. So now when I go to Forms, let me get out of this one. And now when I go back to Forms, I'm at forms.office.com. Let me slow down now because this is something you may want to see for next week. If I just wanted to create a very quick quiz to make sure the students paid attention, maybe this is their exit slip at the end of an event, I could just say, what do you know about Teams? So I'm going to put a little quick questions in here. I'm going to click add new. Let's do a choice. How much is the free version of Teams? I hope that one's not too hard. So I'm going to put a question right here. I'm going to put free or $1.99. The right answer is free, so I can just put a check mark by it. And you can have as many options if I want an A, B, C, D question. I'm going to make that 50 points. And if I wanted to add another question, it could be text, like Teams has a lot of features. What is your favorite so far? And then this would be something you would grade. So this is now already ready to go. I'm going to click theme and make a beautiful background on the edges. And then here's what's nice about it. They can see it on any computer or any mobile device. And if they don't know how to read yet, no problems. It will read them the entire quiz to them.
1. How much is the free version of Teams?
So it reads, it can grade them. And let me share with you, I'm going to share the quiz real quick with you, and you can go see it. So let me go back into our little Teams environment, and I'm going to go into chat. I know we did a lot of stuff today, guys, but now at least you have a better idea of what it can do, and then I'll answer some questions back here. Everyone go to your chat. And does everyone see a link there real quick that I put in? Go ahead and tap that, and that quickly you can have the class. Do me a favor, everyone click on that and answer those 2 questions real quick, and I'll show you how quick we get the response back from forms. And it doesn't matter what device. While you're answering that, let me help you with some questions. It says, with the free OneNote, can students edit and keep their versions of notes while you are on Teams? Yes. Their free version of OneNote can integrate with Teams, or they can just have OneNote without using Teams at all. So a lot of you are saying my captioning turned to French. Good. I probably, you can switch it to a lot of different languages. Karen, can we see you? Karen, let me get you off mute. Say something, Karen. I don't know if we lost Karen or not. We might have. We'll have to see. Okay. I have only the one person talking, not 9 faces. Maybe you're now seeing 9, I'm hoping. So now that we're back to me not sharing my screen. Give me a thumbs up if you're seeing the quiz. How many have answered the quiz? Let's go peek. So now I'm just going to click on responses and refresh my screen here. And I already got 15 responses out there. So everyone, got the right answer on the first one. And now I can see what are everyone's responses. People like OneNote, interactive notebook, OneNote integration. Seems cool once I can grasp it. It is a lot. It read aloud, voice to text, so many features. Love the class notebook. You can have everything together. Not sure. This is so much more than I thought it is. Chat and Teams, being able to upload math graphs, all of this type of stuff. So did you see literally in a second how I could see everyone's response? And this could really, so what schools are now doing with Teams is they're using this for their platform to not only video conference their students, but also work collaboratively using this class notebook. They can all work on the whiteboard at the same time. They can work with students individually in their notebooks. So this to me takes the worksheet issue of, let's say, elementary school, and I'm able to push it into anybody's notebook in 1 second. In that Teams, there's one single button that I can push any file into any student's notebook, and I could have them grouped and work accordingly as they go along here. Let me show you the last couple things. Feel free to type in any questions here. Teams also has attendance reports, so you can see who attended your class and who didn't. It's up in the upper right-hand corner where it says people. There's a little download area, and I'll be able to see who came to this meeting today after I'm done. We can, of course, change our background like we showed you earlier. If you weren't seeing this, this is what it looks like. And here's why I think we do need to change our background.
Being both technical and creative.
Also, I just wanted to check in with you guys and talk about
Democracies respond to those
Remember
scandals.
this?
My apologies.
And yes, I do have French turned on in my PowerPoint because I was speaking in Quebec the other day. So started off the French. Let's see, there are tons of student experience videos. I put this in your assignment this week so you can kind of see what the student would see on their
Chatting
side.
from your mobile.
This is those 4 ways you can create a team. We talked about this side being the me space today. Remember the me? What we didn't cover is this side is called the we space. This is where we work together as a team. This is where we work together as a staff or a class. So the me side and the we side. And even if your school never uses Teams, this is now being used by almost every major business out there today, and even small businesses. You guys, as teachers, if you have a neighbor who needs a little assistance on Teams, you could say, I've worked in it a little bit. So that way, some best practices as we go to close here and open it up to questions. I always create a fun channel in my Teams class. So where they can share what's happening in their world and they can share what they are creating. So don't only make it about content, make it fun. This is, again, what a filled calendar would look like when everyone's meeting at different times. And I want to show you a little bit more about this immersive reader in Teams. Let's take a look. So here in Teams, remember how let me go back for a second and stop it. You remember, this could be a world history class, and in our general, people are typing or asking questions. If you click on anything you type in Teams, there'll be 3 dots up here. Let's take a look. When I click on this, there'll be these 3 dots. You will see Immersive Reader everywhere. And what the Immersive Reader can do is read everything to you. And a lot of our students have dyslexia, dyscalculia, dysgraphia. We actually know in our country or in our world today, 1 in 5 students, whether they've been classified or not, have some form of dyslexia. And this could have a picture dictionary. Do you see when they click? It can read back to the student. It could do
An ancient Egypt and then take 15 minutes to write.
So helping every one of our special needs students is really helpful here. We mentioned Microsoft Forms with the assessment, maybe as an exit slip or maybe even a more formal test or quiz. And of course, it works entirely on their smartphone as well. A couple best practices: if students on any platform are having trouble with bandwidth, ask them to turn off their video. And don't share your entire desktop, share just one application if you're having trouble. Make sure you record any of these classes and it will store automatically in your Microsoft free environment in Microsoft Stream if you ever want to record it. Microsoft Stream is kind of like the YouTube of Microsoft. Okay, today I want you guys to get your first Microsoft Teams badge. And even if you're like, I don't think I'm going to do this, it's totally free. Here's why I think you should consider it. If you're taking time, I'm going to offer you enough badges in this course to become a Microsoft Innovator Educator. You have to do nothing except go to education.microsoft.com. Don't forget, this is being recorded. You just go to that website with your school email, create a free profile. It's just like 3 questions. And then click on your profile and click Redeem Achievement Code. If you earn a couple of these this summer, you will be considered a Microsoft Innovative Educator. It looks great on your resume, but if you're doing this class already, why not get certified? There's no cost, it automatically gives you a transcript that you can provide for professional development points or whatever you do through your school system. So if you would jot down this code, and if somebody would put this in our chat to make it easier for people to copy and paste maybe into their OneNote, this summer for free, you can become a Microsoft Innovative Educator because I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. So if you don't have to do this, but you feel free to do this. I also want to extend something to you and any of your faculties. All summer long, I actually am a speaker for Microsoft, and I offer a lot more of those certification. This is all free again. You don't have to do this, but every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m., including today, you can sign up for free at the website fairchancelearning.com and click on webinars. I actually am the Worldwide Digital Educator Series that I can do every Tuesday to help people get their badge. And today's topic, for example, is helping students who have special learning needs. If you can't come at Tuesday, you could still register and watch these on recording. You don't have to do this. I just wanted, if you want to share this with any of your schools to be a part of, they're welcome to do it this summer. We're doing it all the time. Okay, let me now drop out of this, go back to our chat. In our last 5 minutes, get off, everybody put their mic on, and let me ask you guys some questions. I know that was overwhelming, but I have some videos in there for you to watch at a slower pace. First, questions. Questions, anyone?
I don't even know what question to ask.
What?
I don't even know what question to ask.
It is overwhelming. Well, the good thing about this is for homework, you're doing something very simple. You're creating a team and a channel and just talking a little bit with your neighbor. So you are not doing all these 17 million things, but I couldn't cover Teams without showing you at least what it can do, or I would not do it justice. You are, though, creating a free OneNote this week and trying that tool out. Even if you never use it in education, it's a great place to kind of organize yourself, do lesson plans, organize your environment and your world. I am addicted to OneNote, and it's free, and it syncs automatically on your smartphone. So that way you could open it. I do it with grocery list to lesson plans. So that might be helpful. Hey, let me ask you some things. Allison, thoughts about Teams?
Well, actually, I had a quick question.
Sure.
If I can, I'm
Yeah.
using my MacBook right now. I just wasn't able to get to my Surface. And so I logged in with my CVCC stuff, but it's not giving me a lot of the options you were saying at the beginning. When I clicked on the share screen, I wasn't able to see the closed captioning. When I click on the 3 dots, I'm not able to see the option, some of those options you were saying. So is there something I could do differently?
The full experience, use your Surface.
Yeah, that's what I
Any
figured I would
student
do.
could use their Mac to become a part of, but there are a few more features on that PC side. So you're right.
Okay. So pretty much if I want to do all the things, I need to get on my Surface. Okay, that's good to know.
But if someone's just inviting you to the meeting, you could work fine on your Mac. Absolutely no problem.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
Hey, Amanda, thought of Teams besides being overwhelmed?
Overwhelmed is definitely the first thought, but I think it has a lot of potential as we gear up for more remote learning. I think it's going to take me a lot of time to really process.
Yeah, it just has so many features, but if we're really going to do remote teaching right, and if this really becomes maybe our full-time platform, I think an environment like this would be what's needed. That just the video, that's great, but it doesn't have all the interactive tools that would really help us. And I wanted to show you both spectrums. Well, our time is up and I don't want to go over. Don't forget, I'm available by email all week, or if you want to hop on Teams and I could show you more, or you run into issues. You guys have done a great job. Everybody's in a really great place. I've been reading and answering. Please look in the grade book so you can see I don't just grade, I comment. And I'm hoping that you're seeing what I'm getting out of what you're writing as well, because I think we're a collaborative and a collective. We are going to do a diversity exercise this week. I think that's really important that every voice be heard in this world today. So I hope you enjoy that as well. Guys, ciao. Thank you for coming. See you again soon.